Some Like It Hot is a conference show on climate change that combines scientific animation, music, videos, and analysis on how we are facing the problem of climate change. I am the speaker of this conference. I am professor of mitigation of climate change at Politecnico di Milano. I've been teaching this issue in the last 14 years, and now I have moved to University of Parma. Since about 20 years ago, I have been participating in many conferences to communicate the problem of climate change in many public events. And then I realized that the risk of this conference was to reach always the people that were already informed. And furthermore, it was increasingly difficult to talk about the climate because it's a topic that talks about death, talks about the suffering. So it's the deal with an emotional level. So there is the risk that the people will become discouraged, and therefore they don't want to know more because people doesn't like to hear too much about the tragedies and deaths and risk for the future. So for this reason, I try to change, because I realize that the risk is that communicating with the reality of the climate change, communicating this hard reality is too heavy for the people to handle from the point of view of psychological resistance to deal with all of this suffering. So for this reason, I decided 6 years ago that I should communicate differently, and I wrote a screenplay of a conference where I mixed science and scientific animation and video of the impact on climate change, but also movie clips and jazz music, images on what we are doing. So the conference show is called Some Like It Hot, a qualcuno piace caldo in Italiano, which is also the name of the book I published in 2008, 15 years ago. It was a book where I demolished the fake news on climate science, the alternative theories proposed by denialists and the big oil companies and so on. So there is in this conference show a jazz pianist, Erminio Cella, who plays 5 songs of the soundtrack of the film Some Like It Hot by Billy Wilder, Hot Jazz, and also about 10 other jazz standards by Bill Evans, Duke Ellington, and so on, and also Michel Petrucciani, one of my favorite pianists. The director of the show and the co-authors of the text is Francesca Cella. She's also the person who takes care of all the video animation. She downloads all the animation and then edits them to adapt them for the timing of the show. There are scientific animation, but also music that show the trend, the increasing trend in gas emission and in greenhouse gas concentration and temperature of the planet, the reduction of the sea ice, and so on. All the scientific animation, about 14 scientific animation, are freely available on the website. And on the website of the different kind of scientific organization and research center. Francesca also realized animation that show the different climate futures that we can face in the future, that depends on different emission scenario. Data have been taken from the Copernicus web portal, and is a combination of the average of the results of different models made by different research centers. And you can see, as an example, here we use the music Too Damn Hot by Cole Porter. You can see that how different is the future. And I believe that this kind of animation are better understood by people compared to a graph. This is the graph of the IPCC report, but I believe that animation talk much more than graphics. The idea of the show is the combination of the heat of the jets, the irony of the image, and from the video of Marilyn Monroe could be a valid background to understand how burning is the issue of climate change. I believe that, as an example, the atmosphere created by "You Must Believe in Spring" is a famous jazz song by Johnny Mandel that been played by Billy Evans and now is played by Erminio Cella. I believe that with this atmosphere, you can better approach the great ethical dimension of climate change. I believe that the people is induced to reflect better on the political issue of climate change. So all the information, all the list of animation are freely available on the website www.qualcuno.it. We don't have already produced the English version. We know more or less there will be an English version of the show. Lastly, there is another conference show that we have created recently. It's called Sex and the Climate, which is the title of my last book. So the book talks about the connection between two very important problems of our life. That is our relationship, the love, and climate change, of course. And also here we use images, music, and scientific explanation. And we try to understand the point of conflict and the synergy between these two words, eros and the climate, that apparently, only apparently, they are very far away. There are a lot of connection between love, sex, and climate change. So these connections are scattered in many scientific journals. There are traced scattered in newspaper. Some connection is funny or extravagant in books and also in song. Some like it hot talk about love, hot talk about jazz, talk about love. And you can see a lot of connection also in the endless spaces of the web, of the internet. Sex and climate are connected with anxiety, with falling in love, with the consultative, with extreme events. This new show is a little bit more interactive. In this show, the public has to answer to some question. As an example, is your partner hot enough? Or have you ever not made love because it was too hot? The atmosphere was too hot. So I hope to see you in some of these conference shows. Arrivederci.